If you want to know who to pull for in the upcoming banners of 2.5, which includes the limited units like the hype feixiao, Lingsha, and alongside reruns such as Kafka, Black Swan, Topaz, and Robin, then you came to the right video as I'll discuss whether to invest your jades to get these units. Now, to separate myself a bit from other content creators, I'll start by being far more critical of these units. Why I do this? Well, let's be honest, you already probably have a biased mindset towards units you're already considering pulling for. You probably check the unit leaks, and if so, you probably have pre-farmed for them and thus are willing to spend jades on these units without question. So all the more reason for me to be far more critical of these units to level your expectations, remove you from FOMO mindset, and possibly even change your mind. Maybe even despite my critique, you still may want to pull for said units, then all the more power to you, you know? So with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. So as you can see from my screen, these are my, opinions on these units. So going down the list is Kafka and Black Swan, which are the DOT rerun banners. Their issue really relies on Hoyoverse not giving that much love towards these units. I mean, even the recent unit who is Jiaoqiu. Sure, he has DOT, but like it's not gonna be comparable to like the combination of Black Swan and Kafka. Jiaoqiu is more of a Acheron unit. Now the issue with DOT is that they're no longer taking the spotlight as compared to like the follow-up attack team, the break team. They're really at the bottom of the list. Their power cannot compare to like a Firefly, Acheron, or even Unity team in some cases. They're no longer the meta, but as of right now, I don't really recommend them as a decent pick. So Kafka and Black Swan, they're at the bottom. DOT is no longer meta. Firefly's team is like far cheaper than like the 4-cost DOT team that includes Woho and Ruan Mei. And Firefly team is like easier to build and far cheaper compared to like DOT team, right? So there's that. Even if DOT becomes meta next patch, let's say like due to like a new DOT unit, then most likely they will rerun Kafka alongside that eventual new unit, right? For example, they rerun Topaz and Robin just to, glaze on feixiao. So like there's really no reason to pull for like Kafka and Black Swan right now. So moving on is Lingsha. For Lingsha, I don't really recommend pulling for her if you have like even one limited healer. Because right now, she's competing with Gallagher, right? Now, moving besides Gallagher, if you're trying to pull for more damage in your break team, then it would be better if you consider pulling for Eidolons of said DPS rather than, pulling for a sustain. Now going back to topic with competing with Gallagher, Gallagher's already like a 4-star unit in a 5-star level. You have to consider, is it really worth putting like investing stellar jades into, let's just say this, a 5.5-star unit when you already have a 5-star unit such as Gallagher, right? And you have to also assume this, right? Assume that Firefly gets power crept by the next best in slot like Super Break DPS. It may even lower Lingsha's value because like Lingsha and Firefly, they're connected to each other because of like the fire weakness break, guaranteed fire weakness. If Lingsha does not even do fire weakness break, then she's basically pointless, right? Now that my critique of Lingsha's out of the way, let's talk about her, good side. For one, she can fit into the follow-up attack and summons meta. For follow-up attack, Aventrine's still gonna be better, but for Lingsha, she can still be a decent pick. And for the summons meta, her bunny counts like on-field summon similar to Lightning Lord and Nami. And we're approaching 3.0. I'm not sure, maybe, they might look towards the new like things to build upon. Like 2.0 is focusing on like break and super break and follow-up attacks. Maybe 3.0 introduces a new mechanic, or maybe focuses on like mechanics that weren't really explored that much, such as summons, HP scaling, and others. One big benefit that she has over Gallagher is that she has a team-wide cleanse and her AoE damage is probably better than even Gallagher's. But overall, her issue is that it's a Gallagher issue. We're already late in the game with like Super Break that they might introduce summons meta. If you're really looking for a sustain unit, maybe I would rather you consider the next preservation sustain unit. Maybe the next preservation unit might potentially be better than her and would be fit into that next preservation unit would be the best in slot for that eventual new archetype. So Lingsha, yeah, she's your Gallagher issue. Now moving on is Topaz. Topaz is still good, but right now she has replacements in the follow-up attack teams such as Mose and March 7. If you're considering pulling for her for your doctor ratio, it's probably not worth it because Mose Mose has like his own debuffs, at least two debuffs. First Topaz, you kind of need to pull for Eidolons or Signature Lyco, which is too much. Another downside for her is that she is not as important to the follow-up attack team compared to Robin. If you're pulling for follow-up attack, you have to consider pulling for Robin over Topaz as of right now. And just to, give her good upside, she's still a good pick thanks to her 50% vulnerability, and she serves to be the feixiao glazer, right? Let's just say feixiao and Robin, they just work well together. Moving on is feixiao. Okay, let's start with the downsides of feixiao. So she's basically a haunt follow-up attack Acheron, but instead of applying debuffs, she relies heavily on allied attacks. You should expect her to be around the same level of power as the current 2.0 DPS such as Acheron, Yunmi, Butil, and Firefly. Of course, since she is a hunt unit, she must be a better single target boss killer than even Acheron, Firefly, and Yunmi. Now, here are some issues. For one, alongside the next DPS who's the Erudition named Rappa, they may be power creep eventually, very easily and fast. You still don't have the most hype DPS similar to like Acheron back then, right? So if you're thinking right now, oh, I want a unit that basically power creeps Acheron, and what I mean by power creep is like the power creep level of like a Jingliu moving towards Acheron, it's like undisputed, right? Then you might well be saving up for like the 3.0 DPS. And by the way, the 3.0 DPS, they're gonna have the Fate Stay Night collab event units. So, if you're into Fate Stay Night and you're saving up for them, there's no reason to pull for feixiao. Other downsides that she's a crit DPS that relies on other DPS, so therefore it's more investment compared to a follow-up attack team. Other downsides that if you don't have Robin, then I highly suggest not pulling for her. Sure, you can run her in a hyper carry, but running feixiao in hyper carry is fine, but because hyper carry can get power crept anytime, whereas feixiao, her best in slot is follow-up attack team comp. She already power creeps ratio in that department, so you're kind of removing a bit of her identity. So now let's move on to the upsides, or why you should consider pulling for feixiao. Number one, if you don't have a main wind weak DPS or no follow-up attack DPS at all, then you should consider to pull for her. Feixiao's team is very free-to-play team ready. You can use Gallagher with QPQ, you can use March, you can use Mose, you can use Asta. I would consider, even if it's a free-to-play team, you should consider pulling for Robin no matter what. And for feixiao, you can use the Hunt Shop light cone in the MOC shop. If you don't have any second version DPS, then most likely you have to pull for her. Feixiao can be run in hyper carry, such as using Bronya or Robin for follow-up attack. Discovered by teammates such as Mose in the free March 7th, you can consider pulling for Topaz for premium. And if you have all the follow-up attack team, all E0 S0 such as Robin adventuring Topaz and Ratio, then you can just replace Ratio and it will feel better, right? Because Ratio needs debuffs in order to function. Whereas feixiao, no, she doesn't really care about your team's icons. What matters most is the allied attacks. Here's what I'll say, feels crafting wise, feixiao should be better than Dr. Ratio by a lot, since Dr. Ratio's ultimate is based around energy, right? But you can't spam it as much as feixiao. Feixiao kinda wins in that department. And the best thing about feixiao is that her damage ceiling or min-max potential is up there. It's hard to explain, but you can check out Lizara's Zero Cycle Showcase, wherein she Zero Cycle without using feixiao's ultimate, right? It's imagine Acheron doing a Zero Cycle but without using her ultimate. That sounds like feixiao might be the top DPS pick of the, of the year. But of course, you might need signature so feixiao overall, you don't have any 2.0 DPS, she's up here. If you have FF, Acheron, Butil, or even Yunli, she might even go down here, Me personally, I'm pulling for feixiao because look at this relics that I have for her. It's practically complete, yeah, it's all good. It's my feixiao, the relics I have for her, I got lucky whenever I was farming for Firefly and Yunli. It's I got a good ass wind damage set, bonus set, a good ass crit damage piece right here with attack percentage and crit rate. So for me, feixiao is a must, but especially check out this speed boots, So yeah, for me, feixiao, personally, I'm gonna pull for her. I'll make a video about it. And now for the very top unit, it's gonna be pretty simple. Robin. Remember when I said in the intro that I'll critique these characters? Well, guess what? I lied. Robin is by far the best support as of right now in Honkai Star Rail. She supports multiple archetypes such as Foul Attack, DOT, can even be run in Hyper Carry, and even if they make like a summon meta, remember summons are also like follow-up attack entities. She might even be like second or first best in slot in like a summon meta team, right? Like the only critique that I can find for her is that she can be released now and then you have to consider whether the next unit will also be like Harmony unit. But even then, even knowing that there will be a Harmony unit coming out next patch, I would still recommend that you must pull for Robin right now just to make your life easier. So, and with that comes the end of this video. Make sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, and even comment whether you want to comment about units you want to pull for or not pull for. My name's Clout, and that's it. Peace out.